Planning to elope because my parents are trying to make me agree to letting my sister's boyfriend propose to my sister. Plus updates. Original post. Maybe this is the wrong place, but I'm going to explode with rage and disappointment at my family. My baby sister is the golden child. Or maybe that's unfair to say. She survived cancer when she was a child. It was the darkest period of my parents' life. I don't remember much of it because my parents shielded me from the horrific truth. I knew she was sick and I remember all my childhood spent in hospitals, but never did I know that my sister almost passed until many, many years later. I was 12 and she was 10. After she beat her sickness, she became the obvious favorite in the house. She got everything she wanted, and sometimes it was at my expense. I resented that, but I always heard that I was a naughty girl for being jealous of my hero sister. My sister grew up to be a brat. Now 20 years later, she is still bratty, although we get along a lot better than we were teenagers/young adults. My wedding is in July. Neither my fiancé nor I have the money for a big wedding, so we settled for a small wedding. About 30 people, at my fiancé's grandparents who own a beautiful house with lake view. My parents, when they heard this, said no way and offered to pay for a bigger wedding and better venue. We didn't agree at first, but later did as we did not want to disappoint them. It seemed like it was important to them. Then last week, my mom invited me over. My dad, mom, and my sister's boyfriend asked me what I would think if my sister's boyfriend proposed to my sister during the wedding. So it becomes an engagement party as well as a wedding. Mom has seen reels on Instagram about people proposing to maid of honor/bridesmaids and thought it cute. And my sister is my maid of honor. I said no, that's ridiculous, and laughed. My mom was livid. She told me I was selfish and ungrateful, and I accused her of favoritism. I told her I always thought it was odd that you'd pay for my wedding, but now I know the reason why. She started crying and kicked me out of the house. Later, both she and my future brother-in-law sent me texts warning me from exposing their plan to my sister. My fiancé was disappointed, but not sure what we could do. My parents have spent almost $30,000 and it's too late to cancel. My mother called me today to plan a proposal, and I begged her not to ruin my day. She told me that since she was paying, she can make requests, and that I should let go of my jealousy and resentment towards my sister because she's innocent in all of this. But the thing is, this day will be about my sister. I told my fiancé to ask his grandparents if they're still willing to host my wedding. If they are, I'll revert to our original plan. If not, I'll just elope. Not sure yet if I'm going to tell my family and cancel the wedding or just let them have their grand proposal party. None of my family is invited to my wedding, including my sister. Thank you for listening. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. And invite them. Go do the wedding at the grandparents' house and let your sister and parents have a $30,000 engagement party. Great that your sister survived cancer, but your parents put you on a back burner your whole life. Now it's your turn to enjoy it. Do what's best for you. This is an awesome suggestion because it's what they were planning all along. This is all very disturbing, and it reminds me of that story where a girl was graduating from college and her parents decided to go to her younger sibling's prom instead. WTF? What is wrong with some of these parents? That's messed up. And you were right, this was all pre-planned. If you do have it at fiancé's grandparents, will you invite your family? Seems they can't stand for you to be the center of attention even on a day you should be. I won't. I'm done. They have no right to try to force this on your wedding. I've had a lot of medical issues throughout my childhood, including cancer. And still as an adult, I always felt guilty that my little brother spent so much time in the hospital or staying with my aunts. Once I was healthier, we reverted the attention back onto him as the baby of the family. One year, I was in the hospital with cancer and he spent his 7th birthday with our aunts. We had a mini party at a hospital on the weekend, and one of my dad's employees made him a WWE cake as a gift. Then, when I was back home, everyone decided to give him a big birthday at a park. He got a lot of gifts and felt a lot better about not spending his birthday with us. My parents always made sure we all had the same amount of attention and love. I'm sorry that your parents didn't do that for you. I don't blame you for inviting them to your wedding. This is supposed to be one of the happiest days of your life, and they don't deserve to be there if they can't let it be about you and your fiancé. Lots of comments seem to delight in the ways you can cause maximum pain to those who have offended you. Mostly, I want to say how sad I am that instead of looking forward to what should be a wonderful day for you and your future husband, that you are finding yourself having to do damage control and grieve broken relationships. I don't have any idea as to how you can fix this. Only thing that I do suggest is to do your best to come out of this being able to feel good about your choices, what you say and what you do. You don't have to make your family happy or do what they want. You are not required to have an ongoing relationship with them. You do have to live with yourself through the years. Do things in a way that makes you proud of you. Edit: I can't tell her since she has no idea her boyfriend is going to propose, and this would ruin the whole thing. At the same time, it would be ruined anyway when I elope and she wonders why. But as of this morning, my mom still says they're going ahead with the proposal even without my help. The original plan is that I would be the one making the speech and telling my sister there's a surprise for her, and today is about us to blah blah blah. And then her girlfriends and boyfriend do some rehearsed dance to their favorite song and then he proposes. If I know her well, she wouldn't mind being proposed to on my wedding day. So it's a lose-lose situation for me. Sometimes I think maybe I should agree and get it over with, but I'm so angry. And my fiancé actually doesn't want me to cave this time since we both were happy with the backyard wedding. We even asked mom to donate what she had planned on spending on a wedding to the Childhood Cancer Fund in our names like what we've requested as a wedding gift from our guests, but she insisted on a party for the extended family. I had a back and forth texting with my future brother-in-law where he called me jealous and bitter. I have now blocked him. He texted my fiancé apologizing, but we didn't answer. My plan now is to get married a week earlier at my grandparents-in-law with 20 guests, because we have managed to change our honeymoon trip booking to be 3 instead of 2 weeks, with departure day the morning after the wedding. My mom's wedding party is already paid in full with no refund possibilities with such short notice. 3 weeks. That was the whole point, I think, to spring this information on me so close to the wedding date so I can't really do anything about it. Now they will have 1 week's heads up anyway when they see my wedding pictures on social media. They will probably just turn the wedding into an engagement party and have a blast. So it's a win-win, I hope. You could also turn it into a destination wedding without your family. Imagine them finding out you married someplace awesome and they weren't invited. Maybe get married on a beach where you wear a white sundress and any bridesmaids wear sundresses with tropical flowers? If your parents bought your wedding dress, I'd return it and get something for a more relaxed wedding. Let them see you marry in a dress that wasn't part of their manipulation. I really can't afford a destination wedding with a short notice. It would have been the ultimate revenge though. My dress is a gift from my mother-in-law. A very simple dress that probably cost $200 to $300, but it's so beautiful. Could you give us an update on how things are going? And now for the first update. I'm getting married on Saturday. I haven't told my family about it, and I won't. The last time I spoke to my parents was 5 days ago. I told my mom that I wasn't going to attend a party she's paying for and that they should just make it an engagement party instead. She said I was being ungrateful and bitter. I told her again that I wasn't going, but she doesn't seem to believe me. 2 days ago, I told my sister about the whole thing. She was shocked at first, but later basically asked me to go with it. I told her no, and she said she was disappointed in me. Why do you have always to complicate things? My mother and future brother-in-law are so angry at me now for ruining their surprise. But I felt that I had to tell my sister why I'm canceling my wedding, right? Had she supported me, I would have told her about my wedding on Saturday. But she sided with mom and her boyfriend in believing that I'm overreacting. So now we haven't spoken to them since. Sooner or later, they'll contact me about preparations and rehearsals because they honestly don't believe I have it in me to cancel the big wedding. Let's hope that they find out I was serious first when I'm already on my honeymoon. I'm planning on leaving my phone turned off or in silent so they don't ruin my time with my husband. Oh, I need to get used to this word. My husband. And now for the second update. I really want to thank everyone that showed me support. I'm now happily married and in Como, Italy for my honeymoon. I tried to stay away from my phone, but I was so curious to see my family's reaction to my elopement a week earlier than planned. It was really ugly. I must start with saying that I really tried my best to negotiate and compromise with my family and truly explain that this was hurting me. I have nothing against my sister, and to be honest, nothing against her getting engaged on my wedding. But the principle that it was made very clear to me that I had absolutely no opinion or say in what was going to happen and what's supposed to be my special day was where I drew the line. It wasn't a wish or a request. It was a matter of fact, and it was decided. So I told my mom that I'm not going to attend a party she's paid for. Maybe they should just make it an engagement party instead. She got very upset and told me that the engagement was supposed to be a surprise. I told her that I was just giving her the heads up since she's about to lose an insane amount of money. She didn't take me seriously, like I wasn't going to cancel my wedding because of a trivial thing. What she didn't know is that I've already made plans to get married a week earlier at my grandparents-in-law. We invited our closest friends, and some even had to book earlier flights and take more vacation days. For these people, I was extra grateful. What was left was my sister. I'd been back and forth arguing and negotiating with my parents and future brother-in-law. I decided that even if this would ruin her surprise, I had to tell her, so I did. She wasn't really happy with my mom, but she was more upset that I ruined her surprise. And she, as I expected, thought I could have just sucked it up and gone with the flow. I didn't tell her about my new wedding date. The wedding was dreamlike. In the back of my head, I was hurt that the people who loved me the most weren't there. But I pushed the thought away and refused to let it ruin our day. My husband was amazing. He promised to make me happy for the rest of my life and to make up for every heartbreak I've experienced in the past. My in-law surprised us with upgrading our honeymoon to a 5-star hotel. I had my friends and some cousins and my favorite aunt attending. We asked them not to live stream or upload any pictures to social media until we're already on our honeymoon. We also asked them not to engage in any altercations online with my family. Today, my mom made long Facebook/Twitter/Instagram posts bashing me and my husband, calling me ungrateful and disrespectful with pictures of my wedding, telling people that I've cost her a big chunk of her savings, and that she's now demanding compensation. Her Facebook post was shared about 200 times, and the majority of my extended family is angry with me. She never once tried to contact me. I really thought she would bombard my phone. Instead, both her and my dad announced that they're cutting me off and are expecting compensation. Future brother-in-law commented that I ruined his surprise, and my sister made a post about being tired of jealous broads and haters. None of the people we invited has commented, even though some of them were directly attacked, so they respected our wishes. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and turn the wedding into an engagement party now. I really hope they do, so the money isn't wasted. It's on Saturday. I'm sorry the update got too long, but with the amount of people asking for an update, I hope this was what you wanted. Now for more comments before reading the final update. So, your mom tried to ruin your wedding by making it all about your sister's engagement and expects to be paid for it? Baby, congratulations on your wedding and your new peace and quiet. Sister can pay her back for her expensive engagement party, lol. Good for you, OP. I'm really happy to see this update. Maybe you should just post your whole story from here to Facebook post and log off. I don't think they're going to listen to you, so take a cathartic experience writing it all down and let the world see it. I'm sure their entitled behavior won't like the truth. Do this. I'm sure your mom colored the story to a version that made her and your sister out to be the victim. Please announce your pregnancy at her wedding even if you're not pregnant. Get up as if you're going to make a speech and announce that you're pregnant. Haha. That is if I was invited to the wedding at all. No, don't waste your time and energy like that. Put them all in the past and move on quietly. Now for the final update. Yes, they did. And they blew the internet with pictures and posts about how magical the night was. Little sister made sure to write about haters not ruining her special day and how she's surrounded by the people that mattered. From what I gathered, about 30 to 40% of the guests that were invited showed up. This means they can't sue me for the wedding. So all is good. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for canceling the Airbnb and leaving sister-in-law basically stranded after she brought her dog? I booked an Airbnb retreat for me, my husband, my sister-in-law, and her husband about 4 months ago. The Airbnb was not dog-friendly and I made that perfectly clear, as my sister-in-law thinks her dog should be welcomed everywhere no matter the cost. She said she would find a dog sitter and I had no reason to question it. The Airbnb was out of state, about 15 hours away on a really nice beach in Tampa. My husband and I flew down and my sister-in-law insisted on driving, so she left roughly 24 hours prior to our flight. She said it was cheaper to drive than it was to fly. When my husband and I arrived, my sister-in-law and her husband were already sitting in the driveway. When they saw me pull in, she had asked if we got the keys yet, which we had because we met up with the owner along the way. And she said, "Oh good, give them to me quick so I can get Brute inside without being seen." I just stopped dead in my tracks and was like, "Are you freaking kidding me right now?" She kept saying things like, "What? I couldn't find anyone to watch him," or "He is old and housebroken." I don't know why anyone would be ignorant enough to say no pets allowed. And basically it just kept making excuses as to why she was in the right. My husband is just sitting there completely dumbfounded and shaking his head. I just went back in my rental car and left. I got a refund from Airbnb and dropped the keys off with a woman and explained the situation. She told me I could still stay there because I've been honest, but I told her no, the place was too big for just my husband and myself. We ended up staying at a significantly less expensive hotel. I paid almost $4,000 for the week for the Airbnb but only spent $1,800 for the week at a hotel. During this whole time, my sister-in-law is blowing us up saying she can't afford to stay down here. My husband and I make a lot more than sister-in-law and her husband, so we had agreed to pay for everything. And says she didn't bring anything with her to snack on and couldn't afford the prices of goods here and whatever. I just straight up ignored her, because in my eyes, she tried ruining my trip that I 100% paid for. My mother-in-law's down on our throats now, saying the least we could have done was give them some money for food, instead of leaving them stranded. But I told her, nope, they can just drive back home and get food there. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments, not the a-hole. If a person can't find a dog sitter, they stay home. If a person can't afford snacks or food, they absolutely have zero excuse for going on vacation. Sure, but who goes on a road trip with no snacks? Sister-in-law's full of it. They ate the snacks and are trying to score pity money. Not the a-hole. She ruined her own plans by refusing to follow explicit rules that she clearly knew she was violating. She left the day before you, so she had plenty of time to discuss bringing the dog if she really had issues finding someone to watch it. It seems to me that she never seriously considered leaving the dog behind, and thought she would get away with it if she didn't mention it before arriving. She left early so she could drive down with the dog. She had no intention of leaving it behind.
Wife cheated and let someone close to her know. Am I the a-hole? For a little context, I've been with my wife 13 years. She doesn't have a history of cheating. We have 2 kids together. Our relationship hasn't been great for a while. It seems like we're always trying to make it work. I'm going to try and be as unbiased with the telling of the story as I can be. A difficult thing to do, but I'll try. So, we just bought a new house together a little over a week ago and hired a contractor to build a small half wall around a set of stairs that leads to the basement. My wife had set up an ad looking for a contractor, so she was the one talking to him about times and whatnot. Last Saturday, she told me the contractor would be there around 11 a.m. My youngest daughter had dance class about a 25-minute drive away at 9:10 that morning. My wife asked me if I'd mind taking the other kid for a drive too, as with all the stress of moving, she just needed to relax. Which is understandable, she's the one who's done most of the planning. I know she's been stressed, so I say sure. I get back close to 11 a.m. and the contractor is there, and he just started what he was there to do that day. He left a while later. The following day, my wife starts talking about the contractor's background and mentioned he had past criminal history. She then tells me he was inappropriately messaging her and then admits she wasn't appropriate either. I ask if she had messages, and they had been deleted already. She said the inappropriateness didn't last long and that she was really sorry, but she had stopped a while ago. Obviously, I was upset about this, but I kept it together and told her I was going for a drive to clear my head and pick up something I needed. About 5 minutes after I left, my mind went back to the previous day and remembered that my wife had asked me if I could turn the water on so she could freshen up, as water to the house was shut off due to a slow leak, and that the contractor was there with her alone before I got there that day, and that she made sure both kids were out of the house. I turned around and something just felt off. I questioned her, and she eventually spit out that she had kissed, and that was all. Then after more prying, she admitted to going down on him. I was furious. I threw him a cup of coffee on the ground, screamed a few expletives at her, and stormed out. I was crushed and furious. Now here's the part where I could be an a-hole. My wife's parents' opinion of her has always been very important to her. I'm not going to pretend I had good motives here. I wanted to hurt her like she hurt me. So I texted her mother and told her exactly what she did with the contractor. And told my wife that her deceased father would be thoroughly ashamed of her. She has struggled with his passing. It's been almost 5 years and it's still a struggle for her. I also sent my wife a screenshot of what I said to her mother. I realize it sounds childish that I told her mama on her more or less, but her mother's opinion of her means so much to her. She eventually got me back to the house that night. She had told me the dog got out and was missing. But when I pulled in, she told me that she had just come back, so I left again. She seemed to be having a mental health crisis, so I texted her mother and told her she needed to come down to stay with her daughter, but I would go back until she got there. When I got there, my wife was gone already, likely only a minute or two. My 2 kids were asleep inside, so I obviously went in, as I couldn't leave them alone, and again informed her mother of the change. After some texting, my wife pulled in and asked me to come out and talk to her. I insisted. I was too angry to have a calm conversation, and I wasn't going to. She said fine and told me to sleep in the house and she would sleep in a van. She convinced me to let her in to grab something. So I did, but she wouldn't leave. I tried to leave, but she eventually convinced me to sleep in the bedroom and she would sleep on a couch. I agreed. She made her way to the bedroom anyway. Eventually, we decided we wouldn't do anything too rash. I made it clear that I might still leave her yet. Kids in a new house purchase makes leaving difficult. She has admitted that what she did was terrible and unforgivable, and did seem remorseful. Over the last few days, she has been trying to get me to tell her mother that what I said wasn't true. I didn't tell anyone else. Complaining that it has ruined her relationship with her mom, that she is so ashamed and can't even look at her. She did admit she cheated and kissed the contractor, but that is all she admitted to her mom. For the first couple days, I was firm and not a chance in hell would I do that. But I eventually decided that I don't want to permanently damage her relationship with her mother and told her that there was a miscommunication and I jumped to conclusions. Things had been going okay-ish, a few blowouts here and there, but today, my wife texted me and said that while she knows what she did was the worst thing ever, she doesn't know if she can forgive me for telling her mother what she did and ruining their relationship. Honestly, I saw red at that point. Am I overreacting here? I feel like she's trying to tell me that what I did was worse and unforgivable. Am I the a-hole? Clarity edit. This was the contractor's third time at our house, and my wife had been chatting and flirting with him over the course of the week. He built a wall with drywall, so as most would probably realize you can't do all the mudding in one go. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, of course. She doesn't know if she can forgive me for telling her mother what she did and ruining their relationship. Don't care. Actions have consequences. This. Your wife played a mess around and find out game. It's squarely in the find out phase. Honestly, it's not even in the find out phase yet. OP's being far too forgiving of his spouse's intentional cheating, and she likely felt more comfortable doing it because they had just invested in a major, semi-permanent purchase of a home. She even got him to go back to sleep in the bedroom and then invaded that space. It doesn't seem like the first time she has done something wrong and then manipulated her way back into the picture. Not the a-hole. I would say super petty, but not the a-hole. She's trying to deflect the guilt to you. Also, I doubt it was just oral. I would say if you think you can forgive, then therapy is necessary. But if you can't forgive and let go, then I would say look at separation. Also, if she can't forgive you, then does she deserve forgiveness from you? Absolutely, it was petty. I 100% own that. After she admitted kissing, I felt that way too. She swore up and down on her deceased father and the kids that she didn't sleep with him. But the way she said it was what made me ask her about other things like oral. I asked her to swear on her deceased father that nothing else happened, and she wouldn't. That's when she admitted oral. I agree with your last point too. That's what has me so angry right now. How the heck can you say you're not sure you can forgive me for telling your mother what you did? The problem is you did it. Actions have consequences. I still think what I did wasn't out of line, but I recanted for her relationship with her mom. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife no? Original post. My wife, 35 female, and I, 38 male, have been married for 12 years, dated for 3 before that. We have 3 kids, 10 male, 7 female, 5 female. We both work full-time in separate fields. She does some chemistry thing that I don't understand, and I am a manager at a computer repair store my friend runs, and also a short story writer when it's slow. She's definitely the breadwinner bill payer between the two of us, but I bring in the fun money for our family and would be completely listless if I didn't at least work part-time. We also fully own our home because of her job. Also, my parents watch the kids for us during the week when we are working. It's been this way since our son was born, and they've been doing it less since they're all in school. But it's free childcare, and they refuse to accept money unless it's reimbursing for buying food. Okay, now that all of that backstory is set, here's where the problem begins. A couple of months ago, my wife started to pepper into conversations about a possible promotion coming up that would get her out of the lab and into a more managed lab team position with less dangerous hours for more pay. Ever since the first time she mentioned it, I've been hyping her up and telling her she's a shoo-in for the promotion, especially since she's been working there since her master's internship and now she has a PhD. Last night, she told me she was getting word today if she got it. After she left for work this morning, I called my boss up and told him I couldn't come in today, and then told my parents the kids were staying with me. We spent the day cleaning the house, drawing congratulations cards, and making a congratulations banner. We also made a couple cards that say sorry and we love you for if she didn't get it. I was working on making her favorite dinner, lobster rolls with lobster bisque because she's a fancy lady, when she got home earlier than normal. Everyone was surprised because no one is usually home at this time, and yet here everyone was. She got tears in her eyes seeing everything we were still working on, got down and hugged our two youngest, and said she got the promotion. Cheering all around. And that's when she dropped the bomb, saying we need to get a realtor in estate 3 away from us so we can relocate within the next 2 months. I was stunned and just said no. We aren't moving for this promotion. In all of her talks, she never mentioned that the promotion wasn't for the same location she's been at. All of our family's here, her parents and mine, all of our friends are here. My job is here. She insisted that she's mentioned relocating before, but I swear she never did. That set off a completely new argument about never listening to her and only hearing what I want to hear, and how this will make it so I can stay home with the kids and not even need a fun money job. During this, I noticed she was typing on her phone, and when I asked why she was multitasking an argument, she said she was texting my parents to get the kids so they don't have to see this. When my parents got here, they congratulated her on the promotion and asked how long until we move. She told my parents the promotion included relocation. I'm typing this on the couch in the basement because I can't face her right now. My parents knowing means she probably did say we would need to move if she got it. I don't want to move. I like my job and our house. I like being near my parents. I know this would practically set us for life, but I don't want to. I know I'm being selfish, and I know I must not be listening when she talks, but I still don't think she should accept the promotion. I still think no. Now for the update. Info. I've been tested for ADD as a kid but did not get diagnosed, though I guess that would be something that can change as I age. I probably should get tested for ADHD, considering she's told me her exact job many times and it refuses to stick in my brain. It's something to do with the environmental testing, like soil, water, etc. It's definitely not incredibly dangerous, but it involves chemicals, so there's always some danger. Info. There were many conversations in general about her possible promotion. Mostly about upgrading cars and electronics. It was never really anything detailed beyond that. Info. I don't actually know why my parents never mentioned it. I should probably ask them at some point. Info. Our kids do have friends in school, though in these few weeks they never really talked about anything with me. It was like everyone was walking on eggshells where I was concerned. My son did say we needed a school with a good soccer team though, so he had some opinions after the argument. Info. When my parents got the kids, she stormed up to our room and I went and hid in the basement. I was definitely being a coward, but I also wanted us both to calm down. It did feel silly asking this forum about this, but I've been here since 2010. I was falling back on previous safe heaven. The next conversation did not happen. That next morning she was acting like I was perfectly fine with everything, and we weren't arguing in the first place. It was weird, but after the argument in front of our kids and venting here, I decided that I would support my wife. If my parents knew we were moving, I was clearly in the wrong. Now for the update. This is of course when things started breaking down. Buckle up. This is going to get stupid. And if you think this sounds like a bad story, you try living it. Within days of the announcement, we had a realtor looking at houses for us near what will be her new office. She was planning on being the one to do a final walkthrough after we picked a house via photos, so she could multitask and get acclimated at the new job location. It was her suggestion, and I did not want to rock the boat any further. Conversations between us were only about logistics at this point. How would we handle moving? When was my last day? Where were the kids getting transferred to, etc.? It was very stilted. At any time I would try to just talk normally, she would ignore me. The next time I had work, one of her coworkers came in with her kid's busted laptop. The screen took some kind of sports ball to the face basically. As I was filling out the intake form, she asked me how our kids were handling the transfer. When I asked her what she meant, she clarified that she was talking about the transfer request my wife put in to the office she's had a promotion transferred her to. I told her that my wife didn't put in a transfer request, but instead was given a promotion with a transfer. She then told me my wife's had that promotion since January and recently put in a transfer request that was approved. The promotion that included a hefty pay raise. When she left, I checked our bank account on my phone and saw that the same amount she's always been paid was still what she was getting. I believed the coworker must have been mistaken, but when I went home, I spoke to my wife about it. She told me that the coworker was just jealous she had been passed over for the promotion and wanted to add to the drama in our house. That seemed to break the ice a bit, and I was able to apologize to her for the misunderstanding and the argument. She told me she accepted the apology and that she assumed it was coming because of how helpful and attentive I had been. According to her, I was paying more attention than normal, and she appreciated it. She must have spoken with a coworker about this at some point, because when she came to pick up the laptop a few days later, she refused to speak with me past hello and here's the bill and was glaring the entire time. After that conversation, things seemed to settle. I wasn't happy about the relocation, but I didn't want our family to break apart all because I wasn't paying as much attention as I should. This new attitude was the final nail. We had started organizing things, throwing away and donating things we didn't remember even having, etc. to prepare for the move. While I was going through a closet where she normally hid the kids' Christmas presents, I found a few old laptops. She claimed that she hides everyone's presents in that closet and that I found her birthday present for me. Just some things to tinker while we settle. Not totally weird, but it was a little. She probably knows about as much about my work as I do about hers. I also found a few books that belonged to her mother, so I figured that I could start to mend that bridge as her parents never liked me and bring them the books. I did not tell my wife about this, but considering the level of dust on them, I'm sure she forgot they were there. Her parents live a few hours away from us. Not even slightly as close as my parents, but they would still be states away after the move. I drove the entire way, no meeting halfway or anything. It was an awkward meeting, but her mom did appreciate me bringing the books to them. Apparently, she thought she had lost them. We did some stilted small talk over a late lunch, and I asked how they felt about my wife's promotion and move. They seemed a little confused, and stuff was slowly unraveled. According to her mother, she mentioned the promotion in January, when she got it. She had mentioned to her dad that we were saving the extra money just in case because of a business venture my boss and I were planning. According to her, we were going to try opening a location in the city we were moving to, and I would be leading it. Her parents said they knew I had some failed investments and plans in the past, so they were honestly not hopeful this would go well, but they were glad she was able to transfer with her promotion to the other office. Guys, I had no idea what they were talking about. Investments or plans? I'd done the same job since college, and I've never invested money a day in my life. I said as much and then also told them I was going home to talk to wife. I don't really know how they reacted. I was basically in tunnel vision. Probably shouldn't have been driving. So much ran through my head during that drive home, and I was ready to confront her about everything. I guess her parents called while I was driving back, and it tripped her up enough that she just told me everything. She was cheating on me. Had been for years. Once she got the promotion in January, she set up a second bank account and had them split the check between the two. Her boyfriend at the city we were moving to had access to the new account. He already owned a house, but he used some of the money to fix it up a bit and was just waiting for us to come. I guess to sweep her off her poor feet after my business venture failed. She didn't tell me about relocating on purpose. She's been poisoning her parents' thoughts of me for years, and she's been lying to my parents and children. She also told a coworker that started this thread that I never listened to her, and the misunderstanding was just another instance. She told me she never thought so many things would come undone at once. She's still planning on moving. Me and the kids aren't.
I'm so happy that my ex-wife is miserable. 3 years ago, I, 48 male, found out my wife, 46 female, was having an affair. She met a guy at work and came home one day telling me she was in love with him, no longer loved me, and wanted a divorce. This was a guy she'd only known for 3 months at that time. She and I had been together since we were in our 20s, and we have 3 kids, 28 male, 26 male, and 23 female. Well, I tried to fight for my marriage and didn't want a divorce, but she simply would not stop seeing this guy. Then after one weekend where she disappeared from Friday afternoon to Sunday night, I ended up throwing her out of the house. She immediately moved in with this guy. The only excuse she ever gave me was, "I never wanted to hurt you, but there's just something about this guy, and I deserve to be happy." That was it. That was the depth of her reasoning for throwing everything we built together away. We ended up finalizing our divorce in early 2022, and although I had very hard feelings toward her, I faked it enough to get pretty favorable divorce terms from her. It seemed she was so eager to be with her dream man that she didn't have time for a long divorce. So in the end, I got to keep my pension in the house, which I had bought from my grandmother. I did have to give her half of my 401k, however. The effect on our kids was pretty devastating. All three of them took it very hard. My oldest son told her that if she chose this man, he'd never have a relationship with her again. And as of right now, neither of our sons has a relationship with their mother. Our daughter does talk to her from time to time, but their relationship is very strained to say the least. My daughter is a very kind person and she tries, but she usually ends her conversations with her mother even more upset than when they started. Then about 4 months after the divorce, my ex contacted me out of the blue. She told me she had made a terrible mistake and asked if she could come home. Her dream man turned out to be an alcoholic, who she says is verbally abusive and wasted all of her money. I used this opportunity to tell her exactly what I thought of her as a person, a wife, and a mother. I told her this was her life now, and to deal with it. I told her she no longer had a home in this house, and to never contact me again. Then a few things happened over the last year that have driven her to start trying to contact me again. First off, I met someone. My sister introduced me to a friend of hers who is also divorced, and she and I hit it off. We've been seeing each other since last summer, and while we agreed that neither of us wants to get married again, we are together. Once my ex heard about this, she once again tried to contact me, but I ignored her. My son also got married and didn't invite his mother. She again contacted me to try to get me to intervene on her behalf, and I told her I would talk to him, but I never did. Secretly, I feel like she deserves all the pain she's feeling when it comes to our kids. She destroyed our family without so much as an afterthought. Too bad. So sad. Now, she recently told our daughter that she finally broke it off with a dream man because she couldn't take his drinking and total lack of responsibility. He wasted her half of the 401k that I had to give her. He also totaled her car driving drunk. This from a man in his 40s. Again, she knew this guy for 3 months and torpedoed our whole family for him. On the face of it, I act like I feel sorry for her, but inside, I really delight in the fact that she's so unhappy. Call me evil or whatever, I don't care. She brought this on herself and it serves her right. I actually had to sit there one Saturday night while she got ready for a date with this guy and left on the phone with her friend about how awkward our living situation was. I lived in hell for over a year because of her. Wait until she finds out our son and his wife are going to have a baby later this year. Maybe if she had been able to keep her legs closed, she'd get to meet her grandchild. Enjoy your crappy one-bedroom apartment and your broken-down used car. Me and my new partner will think of you when we're on vacation in Hawaii this summer. Hawaii was the trip my ex and I always planned to take once our daughter finished college. Maybe I'll send her pictures. Now for the top comments. Unless you've been there, it is impossible to understand the mind screw that is an exit affair. Seeing the natural consequences come to fruition must be something. I hope Hawaii is amazing. And yes, it's a totally destabilizing to literally have the person you've been with since you're 20 come home from work one day and tell you they've fallen in love with someone they've only known for a few months and they want a divorce. I'm sorry if this happened to you. Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. I mean, I hope he tried to make it work and she was in love with some douche. The guy knew she was married and was cool with it? Nah, that's a great AA hat. She got what was coming to her. Best revenge is living well. My mom always said this. I didn't believe her until I was older. It truly is the best revenge. I always say beware the vengeance of a patient person. Life catches up to a-holes, and it's fun to watch when it does. Post the heck out of those vacation pictures. Try and get local paper to cover your trip. I legit live in a town small enough that this could definitely happen. I've observed this from another perspective, the leaving woman being, well, I wouldn't call a friend, but someone who hung out in the same crowd as I did. And they just kind of followed me around even though we're not let's meet up and do fun stuff friends. Anyway, she had a stable but, according to her, boring husband. And after almost a decade of marriage, she just wanted a little adventure. The rest follows the pattern of the story. Find an exciting man, who not surprisingly had a reason why he was on the market in his 40s. Divorce, alienate the family, go back to trying to relive their 20s in bars and so forth. Then, come to a realization that it's a pretty empty life, and that the new fun guy was like those friends who were only fun to drink with. Then get super upset that her ex-husband and the rest of the family had moved on, and she was no longer invited. The kicker was that she always told herself as the victim in all this, saying she just had one tiny mistake and everyone else blew it out of proportions. Naturally, she just wanted validation and pretty much unfriended everyone on Facebook who disagreed with her being the blameless victim. Thus, so ended my connection with her as well. Sounds like you knew my ex-wife. Only difference was it was a woman she left for, but everything else in the story fits perfectly. Next story. My 41 male wife, 40 female, cheated on me with my best friend, 42 male. So, I'm now in the aftermath of the situation as she has moved out and divorce papers have been filed, but I still wake up feeling angry and betrayed every day. My wife and I had both come from previous divorces. She had cheated on her first husband. Red flag, I know. And we were a couple and lived together for nearly 8 years without being married, as neither of us really wanted to go down that road again. I got a career position with my job, however, and told her it would be smart to get married for insurance and tax purposes. She didn't think that was a great reason, but then she proposed to me a few months later. This only lasted 5 or less months, before I eventually discovered that she had started reaching out to people, sending pictures and such. The discovery process was slow. I learned that she had fooled around with a female friend. Later learned she tried to sleep with a husband too. Yet I knew that there was a man in another state that she regularly sent pictures and lewd messages to. And then I found her journal. In her journal, I saw that in October of last year, she finally did it. For 3 days straight while I was out of town for training. I confronted her and she wouldn't tell me who. I guessed the man in another state and she said yes, it was him. I also found out that on my birthday in December, she supposedly was going to a coworker's birthday party, but I noticed from text logs that she had contacted my best friend at midnight several times. It took a lot of snooping to discover everything. We had scheduled counseling. She claimed to be serious about working on it, but I discovered her Discord chats. She was cheating on me with my best friend. Regularly. On my birthday, I took said friend to a professional football game for his birthday, the day after Christmas, all the time. It continued even after we had scheduled counseling, after my friend knew we were trying to work on it. There's so many more details, but she agreed to a divorce and has since moved out. I have to pay her thousands of dollars to get her off the deed to the house, so I guess it's a lose-lose for me, but I'm trying to move forward. I guess I'm posting this here because even though I scheduled counseling in December, it doesn't start until next month. 3 total families affected minimum, all with children. I'm not sure if there's more, and I fear I will lose my relationship with my stepdaughter because of all this. I just want the hate out of my heart at this point. But for right now, if either of you are reading this, screw you, and you deserve each other. Edit. Yes, I know. Marrying a prior cheater was stupid. Believe me when I tell you that I loved her up to and even after the point that I had discovered she cheated. She led me to believe that I was her world for 8 years, prior to getting married, and I was foolish enough to believe it. Only in the end did I realize how easily she could lie to me. Work out. Get a hobby. Ditch the friend. Best revenge is living a better life. Very much this. But logic often evades us in times of great emotional distress, and this is a double betrayal. The hate will take time and effort to dissipate. My ex is in her late 40s and living with her parents. I am 3 years older than her and I'm retiring in 3 years. My mama cheated on my dad 25 years ago, has been penniless since, and she finally lost her trailer because she preferred to sit on her butt all day for decades. Now she lives with me and I freaking hate it, especially since me and my fiancé worked our butts off to afford to rent a nice townhouse in BC, and she takes up a third of it. I have been in your situation and it is tough. You have some work ahead of you, else you'll never escape. It is that dire. This situation will consume you and destroy your relationship with your fiancé if you let it. You must deal with your mother and keep your fiancé out of it as much as possible. There is a reason we don't have as many father-in-law jokes. You must set goals and boundaries. Some of them must not depend on your mother at all. If you can't stand up to her, then you need to move to a new small place where she can't follow. Be prepared to make sacrifices here, else you're stuck with her. Lie to her and tell her the tiny new place is all you can afford. Rents are going up like crazy, and you can't house her. The evil landlord only allows 2 adults, etc. Don't let her guilt you. You are the next easiest option. If she can't live off you, she will find someone else. I got my mother to move out by mandating that she go to a psychiatrist, for which I would pay as a condition for her to continue living with me. She'd finally moved out. She was diagnosed as bipolar after 20 years of using my sister and me financially and emotionally. I know why our other 3 siblings want no contact with her. As narcissistic as this sounds, when my ex-boyfriend cheated on me with my ex-best friend, I just try to keep reminding myself that their actions are proof that I am better than them. My morals are at a higher standard. I treat people I care about better than them. I am honest and would never hurt others the same way they did me. Suffice to say, they are truly, truly beneath you. Almost everyone who cheats has something wrong with them. Maybe they're insecure. Maybe they're mentally unwell. Maybe they're bad at managing their romantic relationships. But regardless, cheating is not the actions of a well-adjusted, emotionally mature adult. You're better than them. Remember that. Last story. My ex-wife changed to a different person when we moved to her hometown. We were divorced 12 months later. My ex-wife, 36 female, and I, 36 male, met when we were 25. We were plucky, ambitious people, trying to be better versions of ourselves. We each were flawed, but we help each other become stronger, and each patch the other's weakness. 10 years later, we moved to her hometown. We had visited before. I get along okay with her family members. The move was supposed to be temporary and short before moving to another country. But now we were part of the environment she grew up in. I felt suddenly she became a different person. As the youngest in a big family, she basically stopped making any decisions and instead pushing for what her older siblings recommended. Slowly, it was like she felt like she didn't need to lift a finger to get anything anymore. There's always a family member to help out. But when we were alone, it became for me to cook, drive her around, take out the trash, etc. Because in my family, we do things for each other. I shouldn't even need to ask you. Suddenly, it was important that we show up to parties with her high school friends. These are people I hardly knew, but it's expected that we attend. It would be embarrassing if we don't. They'll be hurt. When we met, we were going to help each other be better people so that we can then help other people. I helped her gain skills. She helped me gain confidence and assertiveness. And then suddenly, what's important became the opposite. It was about what other people think. It was about talking and showing rather than doing. And my needs became secondary. This became evident when she made the decision that she now wanted to live in this town permanently. Maybe it had always been like this, but I swear that being back in the place she grew up, with all the old relationship patterns, behavior, and mindset, was too much of a change for me to see. I felt like someone I loved, with all her precious values and goals that I admired, was being usurped and slowly being erased. In the early days of living there, I said out loud jokingly, "It's like you are regressing to a younger version of you." 1 year later, it wasn't so funny to me anymore, but no one seemed to see it. Perhaps her family and friends only ever saw this version of her, or perhaps I was wrong in what I thought I saw all these years. I still like to think, though, that it was because of the place, that it changed her into the patterns of her younger self. And one day, if she ever moves away, the woman I knew and admire will emerge again. And then the reason for me leaving will be validated for everyone, for her, and for myself. Edit. I just want to add this detail so that I can let it go as well. I mentioned that throughout our relationship, she had helped me with my assertiveness. One of the things that made me lose hope was when she said, "I know that you're learning to set your boundaries, but when it comes to my family, this is not the time." I've always admired both of her parents, especially her dad, a kind, hardworking, generous man. Since moving, I saw up close a subtle dynamic in which he was doing all the heavy lifting for his wife, and children as well. I saw that his wife was taking him for granted. My husband will do it, etc. My ex-wife saw this and criticized her mom for it, but I could feel the behavior creeping into her, and hence our relationship. Another thing that made me lose hope was when we had her family over for dinner, and she was like, "Cook the food, serve the food, where are the cutleries? What did you get everyone for dessert?" It was the way she treated me in front of everyone. That was one of the last days. Some people, when surrounded by their family, can revert back to that childlike state of mind depending on their home life growing up, especially if they're being enabled. While it would be upsetting for you to have to bear it, I think you've done the right thing for yourself. You're only 36 from your post, and you've still got a lot of life left in you. If my uncle, who is around the same age as you, and has absolutely no social media whatsoever, can get a date, then so can you, if that's what you're wanting. Just don't ever feel guilty for choosing yourself. Oof, this is me when I'm with my family. I revert back to my teen years when my mom did everything. Mind you, I'm a stay-at-home mom that literally does everything for the house. I don't know. My mom enjoys it though, so I let her. It's also nice for me to have someone take care of me for a change in a maternal way. It makes me feel good. It sounds like she was babied her whole life as the youngest child, moved out and was forced to become independent. And now that she's back in that environment, she's reverted back to that mindset as her default. She believes she deserves to be babied and catered to. Otherwise, the whole family does things for each other would apply to both of you, not just you becoming the de facto adult of the situation, while she doesn't do her part to cook or clean. Not sure if it's something she's fully aware of, but if you've tried to talk to her about it and nothing has changed, I think you are well within your rights to divorce, as the qualities you valued in her are no longer present.